does it hurt you that maybe you're not universally appreciated as you should be?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't really even look at it that way. I mean, for me, it's just I was never the rah-rah guy. I was never, hey, look at me kind of a guy.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. I never do that, ever. I bring it for you guys every single episode, which is still 3 times a week. But believe it or not, we will be daily before you know it. That first week of the NFL regular season, we shift into in-season mode until the Super Bowl is over. 5 days a week, one of the, 2 or 3 best daily NFL podcasts that are out there, or so I'm told. Love those of you that have been around and part of the ride for years and years. Hopefully, most of you are already following me on social media at Ross Tucker NFL or following us at Ross Tucker Pod. Here's what we got, which happens a lot, I would say, on a Monday especially before we go to 5 days a week. There's a lot of news. We have a terrific interview coming up with Donovan McNabb, who the whole 7 years I was in the NFL, Donovan was in the NFL. He was in the NFL before me and after me, but we overlapped for 7 years. But there's also a bunch of news. There will be even more news this week, right? So last week, there's a bunch of contracts, deals getting done. Now we had even more over the weekend. But this week, when all of the veterans report for every team out there, this will be one of the newsiest weeks of the year. So that's a big reason why you guys listen or watch youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. We'll have the college draft podcast with Emory Hunt today, where we're going over his top prospects in the SEC. Man, just the quarterbacks is worth it, right? Arch Manning, Lenoris Sellers, Doug Nussmeier. I mean, there's a lot to get to. Garrett Nussmeier, what did I say? Doug, his dad, who's now, by the way, the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. So a lot to get to this entire week. We'll have the Even Money Betting Podcast on Tuesday with Steve talking about his Week 9 bets. And yes, he is looking ahead. He actually has teams that are overrated and underrated based on his statistical assessment as well, which I think a lot of you may find interesting. It never stops, by the way. If you ever take advantage of any of the sponsors, or if you rate and review the show, make sure you send that to me directly, ross@rosstucker.com. Even if you just get someone in your life a story from myfrontpagestory.com, send that to me so I can, A, send you something in the mail, and B, you can get your email question asked right here on the show. It's time for Donovan McNabb, who today is presented by Liquid Death. Literally was talking with a woman on the beach yesterday. I saw she had like a lime sparkling water Liquid Death. And I said, "Are you a big fan?" She's like, "Oh, I love it. It's all I drink. I love Liquid Death." Good timing, because they're a sponsor now. I love that. I have not tried the lime. I'm not really a sparkling water guy. I'm more of a still water, but evidently it's delicious. So hopefully is this interview with Donovan McNabb, presented by Liquid Death. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
I don't think I've ever had the chance to interview this guy before. We played at the same time, and I got a lot to say to him, actually, a lot that he may or may not know. Donovan McNabb, longtime NFL quarterback, including for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I got to tell you, Donovan, so I'm from Reading, like an hour west of Philly, okay? So I grew up a diehard Eagles fan. Then, of course, played for the Redskins, Cowboys, Bill, like everybody else. Andy never wanted me. I don't think Juan Castillo thought I was big enough. He wanted Runyon and Trey Thomas and those guys, right? But I was so happy before you came on the set to get interviewed to see multiple Eagles fans coming up to you and wanting a picture and telling you how much they appreciate you. because I made this comment a bunch of times, okay? So my favorite player was Randall Cunningham. That's my favorite player of all time because, when I was 10 years old, he was the Donovan McNabb. You know what I mean? Like, he was the guy. I have said to people, okay, I believe you're the most important player in Eagles franchise history, the single most important player. Because if you think about, I know what it was like in the 80s and the 90s, where they had mixed success, okay? They draft you, and we all know the draft and Angelo and all those guys. I mean, they couldn't possibly have been proven more wrong, which is hilarious, by the way. So maybe not the greatest start there, but then the sustained success that you gave the franchise with all those NFC Championship games, the Super Bowl, they have carried that on ever since then. To me, you were the keystone of turning the franchise around from being basically an average franchise, if we're being honest, to being now an elite franchise over the last 20 years. So I don't know. I never got a chance to tell you that. I don't know if other people agree or not, but I think you're the most important player in franchise history.
I appreciate that. I look at it in a sense for the journey and the duration when it comes to players, because as a quarterback, we're all tied into a head coach, a city. You know what I'm saying? We're always in a position where when you reflect back on the time, if you're in the era, obviously with us at being at that age, it's an exciting time. And so I always explain to people, it's just like there were 3 teams that consistently won and found themselves in playoff play, conference championship play, and that was us, New England, and Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And we all know, obviously, with Peyton and Tom.
Yeah.
But they never really truly bring my name into that.
Right.
They always, Philadelphia and Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb. And it's like kind of like, and Donovan McNabb. But it was like what we were able to do has put this team in a position to understand what they need and how to go about it. And Howie was a part of that.
Yeah.
Howie wasn't the GM, but Howie still worked with the organization, and he got a chance to see that. And I remember during my time, I'm talking to Howie, and he's like, they got to get you some help. They got to get you some help. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, Howie, but I'm waiting on it. But it's fun what we're doing, and we're winning. And it's kind of like now that's what you see in how Howie goes about it when he had Carson to Jalen, of just getting the right pieces in place to be able to sustain that winning attitude. And I'm excited about what they're doing right now. It's a tribute to obviously them being a part of what we started and then being able to carry it at that level.
Another aspect of why I have so much respect for you, you never complained about that once.
No.
Like, you didn't we're not throwing anybody under the bus, but you didn't have Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. You never complained about it once, which, by the way, I think is interesting, knowing the Eagles. So I do the Eagles preseason games now on TV.
Right.
And I do a lot of stuff for the team and for WIP and whatever. It's interesting to me knowing their philosophy of throw to score and then run in the second half. I'm actually really surprised that they didn't make it a bigger point of emphasis. Obviously they got T.O., and we know the success you guys had together that year and whatever. But knowing how important passing is to the analytical mind within the organization, it's actually kind of surprising me that they didn't make more of an effort to get you some higher quality wide receivers.
Money. We weren't the spending type of organization like New England, but it was at that time, if you didn't draft them and go through the draft, it wasn't kind of a high priority to bring in a prized receiver, prized running back. And we all kind of worked through the draft. And really, I mean, it just like you talked about, even think about it. The Indianapolis Colts, those are through the draft. Marvin through the
Yeah.
draft.
Reggie.
Reggie through the draft. Collie through the draft. Dallas Clark through the draft. Edrin through the draft. And only one that I remember for the trade aspect of it, and I can't really even say it was, a really big trade, but that was more defense. And so it wasn't that big of a priority, so to speak. But when we did do it, it boosted us to that level. But again, that's what you're seeing today's game now. Today's game is free agency. It's all the way down to college. Like it's free agency, and so it's just like, what can you bring in to get you to that next level?
I told my wife, Donovan, you'll appreciate this. You know what some of these quarterbacks are getting in college?
Oh my gosh!
I told my wife, I just said, honey, I don't think I have any eligibility left, but if someone will give me $2 or $3 million to go to college, I'm going. We'll have to explain to the kids, Daddy's going to college for a year.
We're going to live on campus. He's going to be in the dorms. It's going to be okay. Like, believe me, you'll love it 5-10 years from now.
Hey, so the thing, though, I said to you about most important player franchise history, I don't think enough Eagles fans either understand that or appreciate that or feel that way. And it kind of hurts my heart for you a little bit. Like, I feel like people don't appreciate you in the city or Eagles fans, which is why I was so happy to see all these people come up to you as much as they should. Do you feel that? Does it hurt you that maybe you're not as universally appreciated as you should be?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't really even look at it that way. For me, it's just, I was never the rah-rah guy. I was never, hey, look at me kind of a guy. I was more of team, and, it's about winning, because that's what, as a quarterback, that's what we're measured by. We're measured by wins and losses. And so it's not the glorified, hey, I threw for 300 yards or I threw for 5,000 yards, blah, blah, blah. I'm ranked in the top 3 in touchdowns. It's about winning, and it's about winning. When it comes to being able to talk about our era, we've done some great things. Andy's the all-time leading winningest coach in both organizations, and I was a part of that for a decade. And so I'm a part of something special. I think at the end of it all, when duty calls and maybe I get the call to go in to the Hall of Fame, whenever that may be, if that happens, maybe they reflect on those years. But at this particular point, that's just something that people just don't really talk about.
How happy are you for the success Andy's had ever since you were gone, but in particular these last 6 years with the Chiefs?
It's funny, I always joke with him. I'm like, man, you've had the privilege of coaching 2 quarterbacks in 2 different eras that have led your team for pretty much almost a decade, and you have won drastically.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, I am. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I'm like, well, one probably right now. I'll be there when you get in, Andy. I don't know if I'll be in, but, he's like, no, you should be in. I'm like, but it's one in which we laugh about. But how about this run that he's on?
Yeah.
This is 8 years for Patrick, and he's been in the conference championship every year almost. And so, we talk about me going 5 times to the NFC championship. This is 7 times for Patrick. At a young age.
Incredible.
It's unbelievable. And so the bar is high.
I never got to a conference championship game. Or how about my our mutual teammate, Takeo Spikes, 15 years, never made the playoffs.
Right.
15 years.
Right.
And he was so good.
Yes. Yes.
People don't understand. It's so much harder than people realize.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Well, I think a lot of people kind of take advantage of it and kind of overlook it because it happens consistently. We never made it to this. And it's like there are a lot of teams that are struggling just to make it to the playoffs. It's not easy.
So, Donovan and I are sitting here talking before the Super Bowl, and this will be an interview I use in the off season. You mentioned the stats,
yeah,
and that's about winning. Where are you with Jalen Hurts? Like if someone said to you, what do you think of Hurts? What's your objective opinion? Because I know you watch him every week.
Yeah, very first thing I bring up about him, winner. And it's not about the stats. And he's the same way. Like, I've talked to him and have mentored to him since he was drafted. And the thing about Jalen that people don't understand is he's been in a handful of different offenses through his college career.
Yeah.
And now in the NFL.
He only had the same guy once, Steichen, 2 years in a row. It's the only time.
Which is amazing. And the success that he's sustained on both levels.
It's happening again, by the way. Kellen Moore's going to go to the Saints.
Exactly. But people don't really focus in on that. It's just like, oh, well. I'm like, first of all, he hasn't truly got comfortable in Kellen Moore's offense.
Right.
Like, Kellen hasn't built that rapport with him where he understands, okay, I know your strengths. I know we're going to attack downfield, which Jalen is a downfield thrower.
Yeah.
Everything that they've been throwing has been intermediate or quick game. And so, yeah, you put up numbers and stats and, you look great. But you got to attack with what you have. And they haven't done that because you got 26 back there. And so Kellen had to change his offense to be able to cater to the strengths of 26, Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
And Saquon this year has been amazing for him. And so, yeah, somebody's got to take a hit, which now everybody's like, oh, well, Jalen's the weak link. Jalen is consistently winning, and he's efficient. When you're efficient, that means you continue to run the ball more because you're converting first downs.
People complain
about everything
and stats, but ultimately you're 1,000% right. As long as they're winning,
yes.
Nobody now if the stats aren't there and you lose, that's the double whammy.
Exactly. And like I had this conversation with a couple people, and I go, you think Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, all of these quarterbacks that everybody's seeing put up numbers, you think they would love to be in Jalen's shoes right now? Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson? You think they would love to be in Jalen's shoes right now? Oh, well, they got to go through Patrick Mahomes. That's nobody's concern. Is that what you're going to always say? Well, we end up losing to Patrick Mahomes. You still lost.
Right.
And so it's one in which you got to give credit when credit is due.
So what are your thoughts as a former offensive lineman? It's when he holds the ball that long and takes sacks that, like, drives me nuts, right? I thought you did a better job in your career of throwing the ball away and not taking those sacks. But he doesn't turn it over.
True.
So, I guess the question is it that hard to just throw it away?
I don't – some quarterbacks were a little conscious of their stats. Some quarterbacks are a little conscious of their stats. So they'll take the sack because it doesn't go down as an incompletion. Right. But then also with the way the game is played, and this is the thing that irks me a little bit about the quarterback play now, because a lot of guys are floating in the backfield. Quarterbacks are floating backwards to push up, to float back, to push up. And it's like after you push up, it's time to go. Like, you got to tuck it and go. Like, that was my mentality.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be back here going back and forth, and then offensive line are sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, and then that's when you guys get pissed off at us. I'm holding my block for 3 seconds, for 5 seconds. Come on, throw it. And I'm like, okay, but I just completed a 40-yard bomb. And they're like, I'm tired. Stop holding the ball back here. And it's like, okay. But it's really like when you watch the game now, everybody's like floating around at the quarterback position.
Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. I meant what I said. Most important player in the history of the franchise. I know a lot of Eagles fans check out the show. Hope they appreciate you as much as I do.
You're the man. I appreciate having me on the show.
All right, let's dive into the news. But first, good news and bad news as it relates to Labatt. The good news is the Labatt lime is delicious, and I had a bunch this weekend. The bad news is I need to buy more. But then I have more good news because I will upload that receipt and continue to rack up points for incredible exclusive merch, It's buy beer, get gear. Rewards.labattusa.com.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, some news around the league. Young wide receivers Rashee Rice from the Kansas City Chiefs and Jordan Addison from the Vikings. They were both sentenced for off-field transgressions, subjecting them to NFL discipline.
Right. So I think that was weird because I think they both happened the same day. I can't remember these weekends in the summer. I lose track of what days because typically, on Thursday I'll go down to the Jersey Shore, and so I don't remember if the news came down Thursday or Friday because we don't have a show again until early Monday morning. So I lose track of exactly what day it was. It doesn't matter. But what I did think was notable was it both happened the same day, where Rashee Rice was sentenced and Jordan Addison, I think, pled guilty to a lesser charge. But it was like the annual young receivers accepting their punishment day for those that both happen on the same day. So because of that, the NFL used to, Jack, punish these guys, kind of do their own investigation and then punish these guys based on what they found because the legal process typically takes so long. I think what they discovered is, why are we doing that? Why are we wasting the time and resources to do our own investigations? There's our country has law enforcement, right? Like they have the whole a whole system set up to try to get to the bottom of any transgressions like this. And then after we find out what the resolution is, then we can impose discipline. So I saw this will be a good topic, by the way, for John Daigle on Wednesday's Fantasy Feast podcast. Don't let me forget, Jack, because the expectation now is that both these guys will be suspended. And the question now is how many games they're each suspended. And certainly not only does that affect the Vikings and the Chiefs, but it affects people from a fantasy perspective a lot because, both these guys could miss multiple games at the start of the year.
TJ Watt, he gets his new deal finally as $41 million a year with $108 million fully guaranteed.
$41 million per year. $41 million per year. I mean, God bless TJ. He's been fantastic. He's had an amazing career. $108 million fully guaranteed. I got to tell you, Jack, from a strict salary cap, cash, all those things, I think that the Steelers, with every other move they've made, you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you bring in DK Metcalf, you bring in Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith. I think because of all those reasons, the Steelers could ill afford to have a TJ Watt that was disengaged or whatever in a contract dispute. I don't think they wanted that. I've said previously, I think that there's a big push for them to end this playoff streak in which they haven't been able to win a playoff game since 2016. But I don't know if you just looked at the numbers. I think there's a lot of teams that maybe aren't in the Steelers situation that would not have given, I think TJ's 30 now, that would not have given a guy this much because there'd be concerns as to whether or not that production would continue. I think it will. I think he's probably going to give you 3 more good years, and this contract will be worth it. But remember, he had 1 year left. So the Steelers could have kind of held him to the fire, had the 1 more year, and then franchise tagged him and got him for 2 more years for a lot less. But then you also have your best player very unhappy.
Some other player news includes Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams. He is retiring. The Seahawks, they released their tight end Noah Fant. Lions ET Levi Onwuzurike, he is lost for the season with a torn ACL. Chiefs edge rusher George Karlaftis, he gets his big extension. And former NFL linebacker Brian Bremen, he has passed away from a rare brain cancer.
Yeah, that hurts. I think Brian was 38, 39. That hurts a lot. And I didn't really know him, but just that hurts. Very, very happy
for George Karlaftis. I for whatever reason, I talk with him before like every Chiefs game. I did his U.S. Army Bowl. He's a good player, really good player, and the type of guy you want to build around on that Chiefs defense. It's not good. The Lions are already losing a D tackle in Onwuzurike, who is a pretty darn good player. You know, this always kills me. Everybody gets mad when players hold out. Nobody gets mad when the Seahawks cut Noah Fant because he was scheduled to make $8 million right before the season starts. They could have done this any other time, but they didn't do it. Now they do it, and nobody blinks, nobody gets upset about it. But if roles were reversed, they would be criticizing the player. And then Mike Williams retiring, I thought that was a great fit for him to go back to the Chargers. I thought he had a chance to really reconnect with Justin Herbert. They have the running game going. I wonder what he's feeling physically or what happened there. There's also, by the way, a lot of NFL PA news, like a lot, which I'm going to save. I think I'll get Andrew Brandt on the show this week to kind of dive into that a little bit deeper because, man, there's been a zillion articles and resignations from Lloyd Howe and J.C. Treader. So Andrew and I will try to get to the bottom of that probably on Wednesday. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. Man, all I can tell you is that it'll be the best gift your loved one will ever have received. That's number one. And then number two, if you forward me your receipt, I guarantee to send you a signed press pass or something in the mail. BackOfficeScheduler.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.